Welcome back to Sprague Homestead. So for 2020, we've got some ambitious goals, like every other year. But these are the goals we're going to set forth for us for this year. So one of the big goals for this year is going to be with all of our goats.
So I mentioned in our review video that we did not build a stanchion yet. I was going to build a milking stanchion last year, and then we didn't breed any of our goats for 2019. So we have 18 does bred right now. First baby should be on the ground in early April, and we're going to run pretty much into June. We got Kinders, Nigerians, and Nubians coming. So lots and lots of babies, which means I'm going to give milking a little bit of a go. We've never done that here on the farm, but always been a big goal of mine. So we are going to get our milking stanchion built and start milking this year. On top of that, with the goats, it's time to finally finish some fencing and get some goat fencing done. So that's what we've got going on for the goats.
So the next category we'll talk about for 2020 is going to be our poultry.
Yeah, so I didn't even turn the incubator on in 2019. It was kind of a, bunch of different things. In the spring, everything was wet and muddy. With the snow and everything, power kept fluctuating. I didn't really want to run the incubator on a lot of days that we were having to run the generator, which just sucks. So I didn't. So we hatched absolutely nothing last year. This year we will be back to hatching turkeys. We should have some African geese. We might hatch a few ducks and some chickens. We're not really sure. But beyond that, I will be finishing up poultry houses and adding bird runs to everything. We're also probably going to make a run at doing some pastured poultry and raising some Cornish cross birds. So if you're interested in buying some processed meat birds, send us a message probably through our Facebook page. Not real sure yet when we're looking at doing that. Probably going to be like June, July-ish. But we'll be doing that. So I'll be building a few pastured pens. When I get to those, we'll make some videos on that.
So the next category we're talking about is a garden, which is always one of my favorites.
He likes to eat it, not actually work in it. So if you've ever seen pictures of our gardens, we've got some big trellises with some garden boxes on them. The first couple years I tried desperately to grow grapes here and just gave up. No matter how cold I could find them rated, we just couldn't make them work. So I've abandoned it, and in the spirit of how we did the cattle panel greenhouse, we are basically converting that whole thing into kind of a quasi high tunnel greenhouse type deal. I'm going to be working on that here probably pretty soon if the snow continues to hold off. We actually bought some lumber for it the other day. It'll end up being about 30 feet long and 8 feet wide, and it's going to be an interesting project because there are spaces between the panels because there's 3 different sections. So I'm going to have to do some bridge work and make some extra beds and all kinds of good stuff there. Beyond that, we've got some new trees on order. We've got some new berry bushes on order. And it's just going to be some expansion and keep on going.
So the next category to talk about is always one of the fan favorites, and that is the bunnies.
So my first 2020 litters, with a little bit of luck, are due the 7th. Now I'm sure this video is going to come out after that, but we've got some Harlequin litters due on the 7th. We've got some Trianta litters due this month, and I am putting Americans in finally this weekend. So hopefully we'll have some of those coming up. The first show of the season, I usually go to the Astoria show, which is around President's Day weekend next month. That'll be my first big show. Then in late March, I am flying off to North Carolina to attend Harlequin Nationals. I'm not actually going to take any rabbits with me. I'm not real big on the stress of flying them that far. I know a lot of people do. It's just not for me. But as Kanan mentioned, I am the new AHRC president. So I kind of feel like it's a big deal that I actually show up and be there for our national. And then I will be making a huge trip in mid-October, driving all the way to Pennsylvania for the ARBA convention. That trip I am going to take rabbits, and that's why I'm opting to drive. I know that's going to be quite the epic adventure, but always wanted to get up and see some Amish country, so gonna do that.
So one of the things we talked about in our 2019 video was a lot of things we missed was fencing. So this year we're going to do a lot of, hopefully a lot of fencing.
And my dad is actually going to be around this year, so hopefully I'm going to finagle Dad into helping. Fencing really tends to be at least a 2-person job, and when he's working, that means it's just me, which is a little bit more difficult. So, like we've mentioned, we got some of the fence lines in, at least the posts, the metal posts are in. The upper fence line is at least clear and ready. It's all marked off. It's just ready for posts to be strung through there. We might, if the weather holds off, we might even make an attempt at that because the ground up there is pretty soft. So we might be able to get up there and do that here pretty soon. But yeah, it's going to be fencing. We want to get all the exterior of the main 80, because our 20 that the house sits on is already at least perimeter fenced. We need to do some work for the goats. But the other 80 acres is open, partially thanks to the former neighbor that cut a hole in the fence and then never fixed it. But we've got to try and get the range cows out of here, because we've got a lot of really interesting things that we're going to be talking about and trying to do this year in terms of these other pieces of property. But it all kind of hinges on keeping the cows out.
All right, and so something we never talked about too much is infrastructure. So 2020, we're going to move forward finally. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed because we've been trying to do it for 3 years. But that is putting on a mud room on one side of our house where the kitchen is, so that we don't have to track mud into the house anymore. And the other one, we're going to convert our cat patio is what it's become. But it's where I have my grill. We also have the chipper there. We've got some chairs and all that stuff. That is going to be converted to an indoor sunroom. So we're going to pour a concrete pad there, erect some walls. Her dad has some windows that we can use for a really good sunroom. And we're going to convert that over to kind of like a walkout sunroom patio there. And it's probably, what, 12 by 12? 12
no,
by
I think
16?
it's 12 by 16.
12 by 16.
We've been trying to do this for a while, and the big hang-up is that one summer my dad got held up. He has a construction company. He usually stays down here in Klamath County and does the bidding, and he runs the office and that kind of stuff. But they were short-handed, and it was kind of a side project. So Dad went up and did this building in Estacado, which is half an hour, 45 minutes outside of Portland. So he was gone, not 2019, but 2018, the whole summer. So he wasn't here to help with some of these projects that he had been saying he was going to give us a hand with. They kind of specialize in concrete tilt-up. I don't do concrete work. So Dad was going to help us do the concrete. 2019 rolled around. We thought we were all going to be good, and found out my uncle had cancer. And the next thing we knew, it was terminal. He quit working. Dad went up and covered for him and finished one of the vineyard jobs, or one of the storefront jobs, all the way till mid-October anyway. And then it got too cold to really do anything. So on top of doing the work on the house, we're working on doing a couple little independent buildings for some of Kanan's show cars to kind of free up some space in the garage, and maybe some concrete pads for him. So yeah, that's another project. One of those things we've been trying to do for like 4 or 5 years now. We might. I got a text from Dad the other day saying, start planning your year because we need to get this stuff done. So on top of that, we're going to try and get some gravel in. Dad actually owns a dump truck, a smaller dump truck, but got some gravel work to do on top of the concrete. So going to be a big year, hopefully. Hopefully.
So the last thing we'll talk about now is going to be kind of our YouTube channel deal. And last year I made it a point between us, really, is more like to see how far we could push it out. And it really wasn't, us putting in all this work to share out content, all this stuff. We really just kind of wanted to get the message out and really give you, really the viewers, the content that they could talk about, right? They could share it out in different Facebook groups or give it to their friends or whatever else. This year, we're not even going to really worry about numbers. I know I worried about views and subscriptions and all that other stuff. This year, we kind of talked about it and thought, we always say that the message is the reason we're doing this, to teach you guys that stuff, and we were never worried about the numbers. We kind of talked about it and thought, what, if we continue to say we're worried about the numbers, we're not doing what we said, we're not being authentic to what we're really trying to do. So this year, numbers are off the table. I'm not concerned with where we're going to go at the end of the year or how it all portrays out and everything else. What we want to focus on is more content. So this year I've already started making it a point to contact other channels, big, small, whatever else, to do some more collaboration, stuff that they can do from their homestead that we can do from ours. And granted, most homesteaders a lot of times do not have great data connections where you can do these awesome two-way interviews. So we're working on ideas that we can each do from our individual homesteads, no matter where it is, Canada, America, Mexico, Brazil, Asia, whatever it is, I'm serious. We can make it work through technology to share content and do that stuff. So one of the things we're doing, and I've already started doing that by reaching out to some other channels, is putting together some collaborations that can be shared on multiple channels. And we're going to show you guys a lot of who we talk to, a lot of who we aspire to be similar to. You know, there's a lot of channels out there that really do some awesome content that we do watch, and we're trying to get you guys to see their content also through us, which is fantastic because we enjoy it. We look for some of the stuff they do and we use it, so we want to give them that credit and let you guys see kind of from our side what we see looking out.
Now keep in mind, we don't watch a lot of YouTube. So if you have channels that you really like, now I would try and keep them fairly small, and I say that because a few bigger channels we've reached out to pretty much ignored us, you know, which is kind of the shame of the YouTube community. But, you know, we're trying to build community and empower the other homesteaders. Some folks aren't interested in that. So if you've got channels that you watch, that you really like their content, you know, kick a name over to us and we'll send them a message and see. One of the ones that I actually follow and watch quite a bit is Punky Rooster, and she's an urban homesteader. She's doing a lot of aquaponics stuff, which I have no aspiration to actually do, but I find her stuff really kind of interesting. She's also done some reviews on kind of some weird fruits and vegetables that you usually don't really see. And because of Punky, I'm actually going to pick up a couple things and try and grow a couple things that I usually wouldn't bother. So don't feel limited. If you see some urban homesteaders or big farms or whatever that you think, you know, hey, you know, why don't you guys make a video together? Kick them over. You know, it's all kind of the same journey by a million paths, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're totally interested in that kind of thing.
So beyond the collaborations, we're going to start working on some more videos. It seems like everybody likes the LGDs, the livestock guard dogs. We're going to do some more videos on those. We'll do
they
some more
don't always
videos.
Cooperate.
Well, there you go, but that's them. So we're going to do some more poultry videos concerning meat chickens, and then just some other stuff we've kind of run across over the years that, you know, common things that you might get. Not really diseases and that, but stuff. I mean, things happen with chickens, and sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do? We're going to try and answer that for you. And then we're also going to do more rabbits because everybody loves the bunnies, and it's one of kind of the one big things we do around here between shows, the stews, and the cells. So there you go, the 3 S's we have for rabbits. But we'll obviously make some more rabbit videos because it's one of the big things we do around here a lot.
There's some other kind of interesting stuff we're going to be talking about this year too. We're going to talk a little bit about forestry management because we do have 100 acres here total, and we do manage our forest not as well as I'd like. That's something we're working on going forward, but some forestry management, and then we're trying to basically take 40 acres or 20 acres of a 40-acre piece that is more or less gravel and a little bit of bitter brush and stuff. And we're about to embark on kind of a regenerative type agriculture to see if we can turn that thing into usable pasture land. And we realize this is going to take probably
20 years.
5 at least until I think we'll start to see any kind of results. I mean, it's kind of a long game. But we're going to start talking about that and start working on some of it this year. We won't get all the way through it, but we're going to at least start.
So with that, those are the big goals we have for 2020 between collaborations.
You forgot about the farm tour.
And a farm tour. So last year we tried to do a farm tour of people coming to the farm for a few hours just to kind of walk through. So you guys, we know when you video stuff, a lot of times you don't get the big view. And we've never shown you like a huge aerial of the the 100 acres we actually own. So you get to see all the little pieces, but we might try to do another in-person afternoon where you guys can come out and we'll walk the farm and you can just bombard us with questions and see a lot of stuff and get the information you want live.
Now that the crazy neighbor is gone, and we don't have to worry about anybody being threatened with weapons or drunken confrontations, which is always kind of nice.
Yeah.
We're gonna try that again. It'll probably be mid to late June at the very earliest. So kind of stick with us and keep an eye out on our community tab or our Facebook page or Instagram or wherever you like to follow us, and we'll have some more information hopefully coming up soon.
So with that, we'll let you guys go. We have ambitious plans always for another year, but for 2020, these are what we're going to do. If you guys have ideas we haven't mentioned, but you'd love to see us give a shot or try or review or anything else, let us know. We're always looking for ideas from you guys because we are here for the viewers, really, because there's really no other reason to do this other than that. So with that, we'll let you guys go. Thanks for liking, subscribing, and we'll see you in 2020 as we move forward.
We got work to do. Happy homesteading. See you next time.